What if I told you that the peace you've been searching for, beyond the chaos of daily life, beyond the endless chase for happiness, has been within you all along? Imagine stepping off the treadmill of worry, fear, and dissatisfaction. Imagine waking up one day to discover that you are free, not just from external burdens, but from the internal struggle of wanting, clinging, and fearing. This is the promise of enlightenment. Buddhism doesn't ask us to believe blindly. It invites us to explore, to examine the nature of life and the mind. The Buddha once said, "Let go of the past. Let go of the future. And let go of the present. With a mind free from all attachments, you will rise above suffering, like a lotus blooming unsoiled in muddy water." In this video, we'll uncover what enlightenment truly means, why it matters, and most importantly, how it can transform your life. Along the way, I'll share timeless wisdom, relatable stories, and simple practices you can start today. Stay with me until the end, and you'll see that enlightenment isn't reserved for saints or mystics. It's a path open to all of us. Right here. Right now. Section 1. What is enlightenment? Awakening to reality. Have you ever felt like something essential is missing from life, even in your happiest moments? Or wondered why the joy we work so hard to achieve always seems to slip through our fingers? The Buddha's answer to this mystery is both profound and liberating. Enlightenment, or bodhi, is awakening, not to something new or mystical, but to what has always been true. Enlightenment is the realization that much of what we believe about ourselves, others, and the world is shaped by illusions. We live our lives clinging to ideas of permanence and control. But the truth is that everything is in constant motion, impermanent and interconnected. Imagine this. You're asleep, dreaming you're trapped in a burning house. The flames are raging. The heat is unbearable, and fear consumes you. You desperately search for a way out, but every path seems blocked. Then, suddenly, you wake up. In an instant, the fear vanishes, and you realize the fire wasn't real. It was just a dream. Enlightenment is like waking up from this dream. It's the moment you see through the illusions that create fear, suffering, and attachment. The things that once felt so solid, your desires, your struggles, your identity, are revealed to be as fleeting and intangible as a dream. The Buddha described this state as freedom from dukkha, a word often translated as suffering but with a deeper meaning. Dukkha is the dissatisfaction and unease that arise from clinging to impermanent things. It's the underlying tension we feel when we try to control a life that is, by its nature, always changing. In his first teaching, the Buddha said, "I teach only two things, suffering and the end of suffering." This simple yet profound statement captures the essence of enlightenment. It's not about escaping life or retreating from the world. It's about seeing reality clearly, free from the fog of craving, ignorance, and attachment. When we awaken to this clarity, life doesn't become devoid of meaning, it becomes richer, more vibrant, and deeply peaceful. The Buddha often compared enlightenment to the light of dawn. Before it rises, the world is shrouded in darkness. Shapes are indistinct, and we stumble through life unsure of what is real. But when the light of understanding appears, everything becomes clear. This awakening isn't reserved for monks or mystics. It's a truth accessible to everyone. The Buddha himself was not a god, but a human being who discovered this freedom through his own efforts. He described enlightenment not as an escape from reality, but as stepping into reality fully, unclouded by illusions. A powerful metaphor. Think of a pond on a windy day. The surface is rippled, distorting the reflection of the sky above. But when the wind stops, the water becomes still, and the sky is reflected with perfect clarity. This is what enlightenment feels like, the stilling of the mind's ripples, revealing the truth that has always been there. So, what does this mean for us? It means that the peace we seek is not somewhere out there. It's not in the next promotion, the next relationship, or the next adventure. It's right here, waiting for us to wake up to it. The path to enlightenment begins with this realization: life as we perceive it is like a dream. The fears, the cravings, the attachments, they feel real because we haven't yet woken up. But once we see through the illusion, we discover a freedom that cannot be shaken. The Buddha didn't promise that life would stop being challenging. Aging, sickness, and death are inevitable. But he showed us that our suffering comes not from these realities, but from how we cling to and resist them. Enlightenment is the freedom to live fully, to embrace the flow of life without fear or grasping. It's not about escaping the world, it's about seeing it clearly and responding with wisdom, compassion, and peace. And that awakening, that freedom, is available to all of us. The question is, are you ready to take the first step? Section 2, The Four Noble Truths, a Roadmap to Freedom. Imagine living in a house that's slowly filling with smoke. At first, you cough and wave your hand, thinking it's a temporary nuisance. But as the air thickens, it becomes harder to breathe. You panic, searching for the source, desperate to escape. Now imagine someone hands you a clear map showing exactly where the fire is, how to extinguish it, and how to leave the house. This is what the Buddha offered us in the Four Noble Truths, a roadmap out of the suffering that clouds our lives. These truths are not rigid commandments, they're observations about the human condition and practical steps to find freedom. Suffering exists, dukkha. Life is full of beauty, but it's also undeniably filled with pain, loss, and disappointment. Relationships end, loved ones pass away, and even moments of happiness are fleeting, leaving us wanting more. We strive to hold on to joy and push away discomfort. Yet life keeps shifting beyond our control. The Buddha described this universal experience as dukkha, not just suffering in the obvious sense, but the subtle dissatisfaction that runs through even our happiest moments. It's the feeling that something is always just out of reach. Suffering has a cause, tanha. The Buddha discovered that suffering doesn't arise randomly, it has a root cause, tanha, or craving. Craving is the constant grasping for things we desire and the relentless avoidance of things we dislike. We chase pleasure, success, and recognition, believing they will complete us. But no matter how much we attain, it's never enough. Think of craving like pouring water into a cup with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much you pour, it never fills. This endless cycle of desire, fulfillment, and dissatisfaction keeps us trapped in a loop of suffering. Suffering can end, nirvana. Here's the liberating truth: suffering doesn't have to control our lives. The Buddha taught that when we stop clinging, when we let go of craving, suffering ceases. This state of profound peace is called nirvana. Nirvana isn't some far-off mystical state. It's the freedom that arises when we stop chasing illusions and start living in harmony with the way things truly are. It's like extinguishing the flames in that smoky house. The air becomes clear, and we can finally breathe. The path to freedom. The Buddha didn't just describe the problem and the solution, he provided a path to get there. This path is known as the Noble Eightfold Path, a practical guide to transform our lives, our minds, and our hearts. It's a step-by-step journey toward wisdom, compassion, and inner peace. A story of awakening, Amara's journey. To bring these truths to life, let me share a story. Amara was a driven professional who believed success would bring her happiness. She poured herself into her career, climbing the corporate ladder, collecting promotions, awards, and wealth. From the outside, her life looked perfect. But inside, she felt empty. One day, as she rushed out the door for yet another late meeting, she overheard her young daughter say to her husband, "Why is Mom always so angry?" The words stopped her cold. She realized she had spent years chasing external validation, hoping it would fill the void inside. Yet the more she achieved, the emptier she felt. Amara began meditating, something she had always dismissed as not for her. Slowly, she started to see the cycle of craving in her life, how she had tied her sense of self to her achievements. She let go of the need to prove her worth and focused on being present with her family. She discovered a deeper joy, not from what she accomplished, but from the simple, quiet moments of connection and gratitude. The essence of the Four Noble Truths. Amara's story is a living example of the Four Noble Truths. She recognized her suffering and dissatisfaction. She understood its cause, her craving for external validation. She realized it could end by letting go of that craving. She followed a path of mindfulness and presence to find peace. The Four Noble Truths are not abstract theories. They're deeply practical, universal insights into the nature of life. They remind us that suffering isn't a punishment or a failure, it's a signal, pointing us toward the path of freedom. The Buddha's teaching is clear: we don't have to live in a smoky house. The fire of craving can be extinguished, and we can walk into the open air of liberation. Ask yourself, what are you clinging to right now? What illusions are keeping you trapped? The journey to freedom begins with the courage to look honestly at your life and take that first step toward awakening. The truth of suffering is not meant to discourage you. It is meant to set you free. Section 3, The Noble Eightfold Path, Walking the Journey to Freedom. Imagine standing at the base of a towering mountain. Its summit hidden in clouds. You've heard stories of the breathtaking view from the top, an expansive, clear horizon that stretches endlessly. You feel a deep longing to reach that peak. But the journey seems overwhelming. Where do you begin? How will you navigate the path? This is where the Buddha's Noble Eightfold Path comes in, a practical, step-by-step guide to walk the journey of awakening. It's not about perfection or overnight transformation, it's about steady, intentional progress. The path is divided into 3 essential areas of training: ethics, concentration, and wisdom, each supporting and strengthening the other. Together, they form a complete map to liberation. 1. Ethics, Sila, the foundation of harmony. The journey begins with ethics. The solid foundation that ensures each step you take is steady and safe. Ethics in the Noble Eightfold Path is about living in harmony with others and the world. It's not about rigid rules, but about aligning your actions with compassion and integrity. Right speech. Words have immense power. They can heal or harm, unite or divide. Right speech encourages us to speak truthfully, kindly, and with purpose. Imagine a world where every word you speak uplifts and strengthens those around you. Right action. Actions rooted in compassion bring peace. This means avoiding harm to others, acting with kindness, and living in a way that benefits, not burdens, the world. Right action isn't just about what we do, it's about the intention behind it. Right livelihood. How we earn a living matters. Right livelihood means choosing work that doesn't exploit others or damage the planet. It's about contributing to the well-being of society while maintaining our own integrity. Ethics is like the boots you wear on a long hike. They protect you from missteps and give you the stability to walk further without harm. 2. Concentration, samadhi, training the mind. If ethics steadies your feet, concentration guides your steps. This part of the path focuses on cultivating clarity, focus, and calm through mindfulness and meditation. Right effort. The mind is like a garden. Right effort means planting and nurturing seeds of kindness, patience, and wisdom while removing weeds like anger and greed. It's the determination to grow in positive directions, no matter how small the steps. Right mindfulness. Life unfolds in the present moment, but we often miss it because our minds are caught in the past or the future. Right mindfulness trains us to stay fully aware of our thoughts, emotions, and surroundings without judgment. It's the practice of being present, here and now. Right concentration. This is the deep focus that arises in meditation. It's the ability to quiet the mind, like stilling a turbulent lake until it reflects the sky with perfect clarity. Right concentration allows us to see things as they truly are, free from distraction or distortion. Concentration is like the map you carry on your journey. It keeps you oriented, ensuring you stay on course no matter how challenging the terrain. 3. Wisdom, prajna, seeing clearly. At the heart of the path is wisdom. While ethics provides the foundation and concentration trains the mind, wisdom is the clear vision that illuminates the peak of the mountain, the ultimate goal of enlightenment. Right view. Right view is understanding life as it truly is. It's seeing the impermanence of all things, recognizing the causes of suffering, and understanding that freedom comes from letting go. This is not just intellectual knowledge, it's a deep, intuitive insight that transforms how you live. Right intention. Our thoughts shape our actions, and our actions shape our lives. Right intention means aligning your heart with compassion, kindness, and a commitment to letting go of harmful desires. It's about setting a course for your life that leads to peace and wisdom. Wisdom is like the clear vision that allows you to see the mountain's peak, even when the clouds obscure it. It gives you the motivation to keep climbing, knowing the view from the top is worth every step. A new perspective on the journey. Let's bring this path together with a metaphor. The Noble Eightfold Path is like climbing a mountain. Ethics are the sturdy boots that protect your feet, ensuring you don't stumble or fall. Concentration is the map that guides your steps, helping you stay focused on the trail. Wisdom is the clear vision that reveals the peak, motivating you to keep going. Without any one of these elements, the journey becomes harder, if not impossible. But when they work together, they lead you to the summit, a place of peace, freedom, and profound understanding. Practical steps for walking the path. You don't need to be a monk or retreat to a mountaintop to follow this path. Start small. Practice right speech by pausing before you speak. Asking, is this true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Bring right mindfulness into your daily life by being fully present when eating, walking, or listening to a loved one. Reflect on right intention by asking yourself, what motivates my actions? Am I acting with kindness or selfishness? Each step, no matter how small, moves you closer to liberation. The Noble Eightfold Path isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's a living practice, one that grows with you as you walk it. With every step, you develop greater clarity, peace, and compassion. As you walk this path, remember, you're not alone. The Buddha's teachings are the trail markers, guiding you toward the freedom and peace that await at the summit. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. What step will you take today? Section 4, Nirvana, Freedom Beyond Fear. What would it feel like to finally let go of all the tension, fear, and striving that keep us trapped? To experience a peace so profound that no external circumstance could disturb it? This is the state the Buddha called nirvana, the ultimate freedom. The extinguishing of the fires of greed, hatred, and ignorance. Nirvana is not a place, nor is it some far-off destination reserved for mystics or saints. It is a state of being, a profound inner clarity and peace that arises when we stop clinging to the illusions of life. It's the end of suffering, Not because life's challenges disappear, but because we no longer grasp at them as if they define us. The word nirvana literally means blowing out, like extinguishing a flame. But what is being extinguished? It's not life itself, nor is it our individuality. It's the fires that fuel our suffering, the relentless craving for more, the aversion to discomfort, and the ignorance that blinds us to the truth of impermanence. The Buddha described nirvana as the highest peace, a state beyond all dualities of pleasure and pain, success and failure, self and other. It's not a void or an emptiness, as some misunderstand it. Instead, it's the fullness of life experienced without attachment, where the mind is calm, clear, and unshakable. A story of awakening, Danan and the river. Let me tell you a story that captures the essence of nirvana. There was once a fisherman named Danan, who lived in a small riverside village. His one obsession was catching the biggest fish in the river, believing it would make him the envy of the entire village. Day after day, he cast his net, driven by the hope of finding that elusive prize. One morning, as he worked tirelessly under the hot sun, a wise traveler stopped to watch him. The traveler noticed Danan's furrowed brow and restless movements. He approached and asked, "Why do you work so hard?" Danan replied, "If I catch the biggest fish, I'll finally be happy. Everyone will admire me." The traveler smiled gently and asked, "Have you ever stopped to enjoy the river itself? Its cool breeze, the sunrise reflecting on the water, the songs of the birds overhead?" Danan was stunned. He realized that in his relentless pursuit of the biggest fish, he had missed the beauty and peace that surrounded him every day. The river, which had always been there, was far more enriching than any fleeting recognition he might gain. That day, Danan put down his net and sat quietly by the water. For the first time, he noticed the gentle flow of the current, the warmth of the sun on his skin, and the simple joy of being present. He realized that the happiness he had been chasing was already within him, waiting to be discovered. The essence of nirvana. Like Danan's realization, nirvana isn't something we need to search for or achieve, it's about waking up to what has always been there. It's the state of being free from the need to chase, grasp, or resist. In our modern world, we often fall into Danan's trap. We convince ourselves that happiness lies in the next promotion, the next relationship, or the next big achievement. But just like Danan, we find that the more we chase, the further happiness seems to slip away. Nirvana invites us to step off this treadmill. It asks us to stop searching for peace outside of ourselves and to look inward. How nirvana transforms life. Reaching nirvana doesn't mean escaping life's difficulties. Challenges still arise, and pain is still part of the human experience. But the way we respond changes entirely. Imagine a candle flame buffeted by the wind. It flickers, vulnerable to every gust. Now imagine that same flame, sheltered by a glass. The wind may blow, but the flame remains steady. This is the mind in nirvana, unshaken by the turbulence of life. When the fires of craving and aversion are extinguished, we no longer cling to the highs or fear the lows. We meet life as it is, with openness, clarity, and compassion. Practical steps toward nirvana. The journey to nirvana begins with small, intentional steps. Pause and reflect. Take a moment to notice what you're clinging to. Is it a desire for recognition, a fear of failure, or a need for control? Practice letting go. Try releasing your attachment to one thing today, a grudge, a worry, or a material desire. Notice how it feels. Be present. Spend time appreciating what's already here. Like Danan. Pause to notice the beauty of the river in your life, whether it's a moment with a loved one, the taste of a meal, or the stillness of the morning. Meditate. Even a few minutes of meditation can help you observe your thoughts and let go of their hold on you. The Buddha's teachings remind us that nirvana isn't a reward for a select few, it's a state of being available to anyone willing to walk the path. Nirvana isn't about renouncing life, but transforming how we engage with it. It's the realization that the joy we seek isn't in the next achievement or possession, it's in the present moment. Free from clinging, fear, or resistance. So, what will you put down today? What big fish are you chasing? And what beauty might you be missing in the process? Nirvana invites us to let go and discover the freedom and peace that have been within us all along. The fires of craving can be extinguished. The river of peace flows freely. All we need to do is stop, look, and let go. Section 5. Practical Steps to Enlightenment. Starting your journey today. Enlightenment may seem like a lofty, distant goal, reserved for saints or monks meditating in serene temples. But the Buddha's teachings tell us something far more profound. Enlightenment is not exclusive. It's a path open to everyone, regardless of who you are or where you come from. It's not about perfection, it's about practice. The journey begins with small, intentional steps. Each step may seem simple, but over time, they transform your heart and mind, bringing clarity and peace to your everyday life. 1. Practice mindfulness. Embrace the present moment. Mindfulness is the foundation of the path. It's the art of being fully present, immersing yourself in the here and now without judgment or distraction. Start small. When eating, savor each bite. Feel the texture. Taste the flavors. And notice how the food nourishes your body. When walking, feel the ground beneath your feet. Notice the rhythm of your steps, the air on your skin, and the sounds around you. Mindfulness isn't about creating a perfect moment, it's about recognizing the perfection already within this moment. When you practice mindfulness, you step out of the whirlwind of thoughts about the past and future, connecting deeply with life as it unfolds. 2. Meditate daily. Find stillness amid the noise. Meditation is the heart of Buddhist practice. It's not about emptying your mind or forcing yourself to feel a certain way. It's about observing your thoughts and emotions without attachment. Even 5 minutes a day can make a difference. Sit quietly. Close your eyes and focus on your breath. When thoughts arise, and they will, simply notice them without judgment and return your focus to the breath. Meditation is like cleaning a dusty mirror. At first, it may feel unclear or challenging. But with consistent practice, the dust begins to settle, and you start to see yourself and the world more clearly. Imagine this: a lake disturbed by wind is full of ripples, obscuring its surface. When the wind dies down, the water becomes still, reflecting the sky with perfect clarity. This is the effect of meditation: it stills the mind, revealing the peace and clarity already within you. 3. Cultivate compassion. Open your heart. Compassion is the bridge that connects us to others. It's the practice of recognizing the shared humanity in everyone, their joys, struggles, and pain. Begin with small acts of kindness. Help a neighbor carry their groceries. Forgive someone who has wronged you. Offer a smile to a stranger or a listening ear to a friend. The Buddha taught that when we act with kindness, we create the conditions for a peaceful heart. Compassion not only heals others, it transforms us, softening our hearts and freeing us from the chains of anger, pride, and indifference. 4. Reflect on impermanence. Let go of clinging. One of the most liberating truths in Buddhism is the understanding of impermanence. Everything in life is in a constant state of change: our emotions, relationships, bodies, and even the weather. Take a moment to observe this truth. Notice how your emotions shift throughout the day. A moment of frustration may dissolve into joy with a kind word. Reflect on the seasons. Spring turns to summer, summer to fall, and fall to winter, all part of life's natural flow. When you understand impermanence, you stop clinging to what you cannot hold. This doesn't mean you stop caring, it means you approach life with balance and grace, embracing change instead of fearing it. Why these steps matter. Each of these practices, mindfulness, meditation, compassion, and reflecting on impermanence, is like a drop of water filling a jar. Alone, they may seem small, but with consistent effort, they accumulate into profound transformation. The Buddha once said, "Little by little, a person becomes good, as a water pot is filled by drops of water." Every mindful breath, every act of kindness, every moment of stillness brings you closer to enlightenment. Your path begins today. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment to start this journey. Begin now. In the midst of your daily life, bring mindfulness to your morning coffee. Take 5 minutes to sit quietly before bed. Offer a kind word to someone in need. These small steps ripple outward, creating a life filled with greater clarity, compassion, and peace. The Buddha's teachings remind us that enlightenment isn't somewhere far away. It's not reserved for the extraordinary. It's right here, in this very moment, waiting for you to take the first step. So, what will you do today to begin your journey? The path to enlightenment begins not with a leap, but with a single step. Take that step today. Section 6. The The Buddha's Journey, a timeless inspiration. The story of the Buddha is more than just history, it's a profound reminder that enlightenment is within reach for all of us. It speaks to the power of human determination, wisdom, and the ability to transcend even life's greatest challenges. Born as Prince Siddhartha in the lap of luxury, he had everything one could desire: wealth, comfort, and privilege. Yet, he was deeply unsettled by life's truths. On a rare journey beyond the palace walls, he encountered aging, sickness, and death, universal experiences that no amount of wealth could protect him from. He also saw a wandering ascetic, a figure of peace amidst life's turbulence, and realized there had to be another way. Driven by a desire to understand the nature of suffering, Siddhartha left his royal life behind, trading opulence for a simple robe and a begging bowl. For years, he sought answers through extreme asceticism, denying his body in hopes of spiritual awakening. But this path left him weakened and unfulfilled. It was then that he discovered the middle way, a balanced path of wisdom and compassion, avoiding both self-indulgence and self-denial. One fateful night, Siddhartha sat beneath the Bodhi tree, vowing not to rise until he had uncovered the truth. It was here that he faced his deepest fears and desires. Personified by the demon Mara, Mara tempted him with illusions of power, pleasure, and doubt. But Siddhartha remained steadfast. Through mindfulness and unwavering resolve, he saw reality as it truly is, a constant flow where everything arises and passes away based on conditions. At that moment, he awakened. He became the Buddha, the awakened one. His realization was not a personal achievement but a universal truth. The key to liberation lies in understanding the causes of suffering and letting go. For the next 45 years, the Buddha dedicated his life to sharing this path. He didn't claim divinity or demand worship. Instead, he taught that the potential for enlightenment exists in every human being. His teachings are not about blind faith, they are a guide, a map, showing us how to walk the path he discovered. The Buddha's journey is timeless because it mirrors our own. His courage to face life's truths and his commitment to seek a better way inspire us to take our first steps toward awakening. His story reminds us that the path to enlightenment isn't found in extraordinary circumstances, it's found in the willingness to look deeply into our lives and choose the path of wisdom, balance, and compassion. The Buddha's journey began with a question: what is the cause of suffering? And how can it end? His answer changed the world. It can change your world. 2. The journey begins with you. Enlightenment isn't a mystical destination or a prize to win. It's a way of being awake, free, and at peace. The Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." As you walk this path, remember that even small steps matter. A single moment of mindfulness, a kind word, or a breath of awareness brings you closer to awakening. So, let me ask you, what will you let go of today? What step will you take toward freedom? Like a lotus rising above the mud, we too can rise above the challenges of life. unsoiled and at peace. The journey begins now. Enlightenment is not somewhere far away. It's right here, waiting for you to awaken. If this message resonated with you, take it further. Like this video. Share it with someone who might benefit. And subscribe to Sacred Buddha Wisdom to continue exploring these life-changing teachings. Together, we can create a ripple effect of wisdom, peace, and compassion in the world. Your path begins now. Take the first step.